Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, where Gant has now accused us of forging evidence on top of everything that we've gone through. Oh no, the defense is in question. And as we continue on with his testimony, evidence, and forgery, we'll look to prove him to be a big fat liar, of course. In fact, it's been quite easy so far to do just that. So as we continue on pressing these statements, let's see for the one we're looking for, if there is one. For all I know, you could have planted him in my office. I'm sure I could have. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped... Oh, you're ruining your character. Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Writo's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. I'm pretty sure we have. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. Well, Gumshoe was there still. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery.
Objection!
If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery... I'm not through speaking yet, Wright-o. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced.
Objection!
Oh. And wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The Chief is talking about a possibility. So long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, Wright-o. Think about it. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. I don't know. I think you would. Career aims? How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember, who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all of this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would of course be the position you have. Chief of Police. Oh. The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Ho, 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 ho. That's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Gah! Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. I could have said that before he said it. There. It's out in the open now. Aji, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Maybe I should press this one some more as well. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Ho ho ho! Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Well, we know pretty much that he has. To help someone else, to blackmail them, we need a motive, we need reason. Do you know what I mean? We know that a certain someone is definitely being blackmailed at this point. So, what was the bait? What was the hook? What was the thing? To keep someone's sister out of jail? To keep someone's sister knowing that they murdered someone? You know, that kind of thing? True, you might not help out anyone for their sake. But if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. A pawn. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean! Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? Well, there's 8 choices, and we definitely have one. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye. The defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? Control. He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh wait! You must mean puppet, as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive? To appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? What do you want to ask? Do you have any proof of this? That I control Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana? She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? Order! 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 I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. to accuse the Chief of Police of blackmail and murder! That's impossible! Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. So man up, Phoenix! Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Put your job on the line. Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Well, it's kind of circumstantial at the moment. But I must say, anything that comes from his safe is our main key point here. But we gotta tie it to Detective Goodman. So rethinking that, because I was about to present something from his safe, would be the ID card record? Due to the fact that we would link the ID number, 7777777, all the sevens, to the safe, to the forged evidence. I guess that's the best way of going about it. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean? I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was all of the 7s! The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Too much coincidence. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. You know it's a tag team. Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. What about it? I'm Chief of Police. Whoever is the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. Objection! You hadn't seen him in days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. Objection! No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. Who murdered Goodman? Nothing else, nothing more. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting. In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. I know. It's a long time since we used some of this, mind you. But it's gotta be this one, because it can only be submitted to the Chief of Police. Take that! Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police. Yet you were in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Well, the evidence transferal is in his locker. Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him. There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait! The Chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Objection! Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would still be on his person, would it not? It would have been found on his body. No! Chief Gant, you didn't! The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. Objection! You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office's parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? Well, that's really obvious. I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. It's still, you're the Chief of Police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time, I thought it was a useless clue, just taking up space. How could the Chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. In fact, I could present more than one thing right now. I'm pretty sure I can. More to the point, one of the things we got was to bring Edgeworth to the police station. The other thing we got really early on and really easy to figure out really early in the case was how the body was moved. 100% the parking stub. It was moved over by car. It was found in the car. It was obvious that it travelled from here to there, and we can tell why Edgeworth was there and why Edgeworth went back. It's so simple. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. A parking stub? Miles Edgeworth. You mean the body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car? I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. You mean I carried the victim's body? Well, surely you'd work that out by now. Precisely so. But wait, even you know, I didn't plan on returning to my office after the ceremony finished that day. That's why you were asked to take evidence, but you did return. Tell me why. I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. So you see, what you were really taking to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver, but the victim's body in your trunk. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. It was indeed, it very much was. Finally, the parking ticket comes to our aid. But we continue onwards in Phoenix Wright next time, as we really have Gant on the ropes. However, I don't see this going so well considering his status. It could prove very problematic here, but we've also unraveled a lot more to the court. And I think the courtroom itself, the witnesses, are very much coming on side here. I personally think so. The tag team of Phoenix Wright and Miles Edgeworth continues next time. Join me then. Bye-bye.